Assalamualaikum and good day to our lecturer Dr. Sobri and to everyone present. And my name is Wan Yasmin and I will be presenting on behalf of our group today. Our group consists of 6 members. Today we will be presenting our article critique for the course Scientific Inquiry. The article we have chosen to critique is titled Working from Home and Subsequent Work Outcomes Pre-Pandemic Evidence. And our presentation will cover 6 main sections: the article, overview, background, research methods, variable, finding and strength of the study, weaknesses, and finally our conclusions. The article we are critiquing was published in PLOS 1 in 2023 by Chen and colleagues who are affiliated with Harvard University Human Flourishing Programs and School of Public Health. The study used pre-pandemic longitudinal data collected between June 2018 and July 2019. The purpose of the study is clearly stated. It aims to examine the impact of working from home or work from home on employee work outcomes such as productivity, job satisfaction, work distraction, and work-family conflict. The authors grounded their study in 2 well-established theoretical frameworks. The first is the Conservation of Resources theory by Hopeful et al. 2018, which provides the work from home provides employees with valuable resources such as autonomy and flexibility, ultimately helping to reduce work-life conflicts. And the second one is the Job Demand Resources models, or JDR model, proposed by Demarty et al. In 2001 and Barker and Demarty 2017. This model suggests that work from home acts as a buffer against workplace demands, thereby improving both productivity and employee well-being. Importantly, the author also identified a significant research gap in the existing literature. Most prior studies on work from home relied on cross-sectional designs and focus on employees who only work remotely on an occasional basis. This made it difficult to establish causal directions or understand the effects or frequency of full-time work from home. This study addresses that gap by using longitudinal data from a sample where frequent and even full-time work from home was already common before COVID-19, making it a unique opportunity to examine voluntarily work from home under normal, non-pandemic conditions.
Good day everyone, I am Nur Atika and I will be presenting the research methods of this study. The main research objective was to investigate the relationship between work from home frequency and various work-related outcomes, while also exploring possible mediators of these correlations, specifically productivity, distractions, work-family conflict, and job satisfaction. The researchers hypothesized that moderate rates of work from home would be associated with improved work performance compared to less frequent or no work from home. They also expected that higher work from home frequency would correlate with increased work-related well-being, and that full-time work from home, meaning 5 days per week, would produce the strongest positive effects among all arrangements. In terms of study design, the researchers adopted a longitudinal approach. Data was collected at 2 time points between June 2018 and July 2019, making this a pre-pandemic study. This design is particularly valuable because it allows observations of changes over time and helps establish causal directions, which cross-sectional studies cannot do. This survey was initially distributed to a random sample of 15,000 employees from a large US national self-insured service organizations. However, after accounting for those who responded at both time points and had no missing data, the final analytic sample was reduced to 1,123 respondents. In terms of sample profile, the participants were predominantly non-Hispanic white at 74.6%, mostly female at 84.2%, and had a mean age of 43.4 years. While this is a sizable sample, we will revisit its demographic limitation later in our critique.
And now I will walk through the variables, measurement, and also the key finding of this study. So first, the independent variable in this study is work from home frequency, which, to simplify the data and minimize sparseness, it was categorized into 3 groups. So first, the 0 days per week, meaning the employee never worked from home, 1 to 4 days per week, representing partial work from home, and lastly is the 5 days per week, which represent full-time work from home. So this study examined 4 different dependent variables. First is the work distraction, which was measured by asking participants what percentage of their work time they feel distracted. This was then converted into a continuous scale using category midpoints. And second is to perceived productivity and work engagement, measured through a self-report scale from 0 to 10. Then third is a work-family conflict, also measured on a 0 to 10 self-report scale, capturing tension between job demands and family responsibility. And lastly, the fourth is job satisfaction, again using 0 to 10 self-report scale. And importantly, all 4 dependent variables were standardized to a mean of 0 and a standard deviation of 1 to allow for easier interpretation and comparison across different outcomes. Now, turning to the key finding, the results show a clear pattern which more work from home was consistently linked to a less work distraction. Specifically, working from home 1 to 4 days per week was associated with a regression coefficient of negative 0.20 in reduced distraction, while 5 days per week showed an even stronger effect at negative 0.24. For perceived productivity and engagement, only full-time work from home, which is the 5 days per week, showed a statistically significant positive effect with a coefficient of positive 0.23. Partial work from home of 1 to 4 days was not significantly different from no work from home for this outcome. Similarly, job satisfaction showed a significant positive result only for full-time work from home with a coefficient of positive 0.15. As for work-family conflict, the coefficient was negative 0.13, suggesting a slight reduction, but this result did not reach conventional level of satisfaction significant after Bonferry correction was applied.
And I will be presenting the strengths of this study. We have identified 3 major strengths in this article.
The first strength is its strong and well-designed longitudinal methodology, unlike many previous studies that use cross-sectional data. This study collected data at 2 separated times, which is in 2018 and 2019. This design allowed the researcher to observe changes in employee outcome over time and to better assess direction of causality. The study also controlled the baseline value of outcome variable, which helped reduce the risk of reverse causality and makes finding more trustworthy. Furthermore, the sample size of 1,123 participants contributes to the statistical power and generalizability of the result. The second strength is the rigorous and appropriate data analysis. The researcher used linear regression models, which are well suited to examining the relationship between work from home frequency and multiple work outcomes simultaneously. The dependent variable was standardized to mean of 0, making it easier to interpret and compare findings across different outcomes. The study also controlled for multiple covariates including demographic factor, health status and workplace condition, which strengthened the analysis by minimizing the influence of potential confounding variable. Additionally, the application of sensitivity analysis and Bonferroni correction demonstrate that the researcher took extra steps to ensure that the accuracy of their statistical conclusion. The third strength is the reliability and credibility of the study conclusion. The findings are consistent with prior literature that associate work from home with improved productivity and job satisfaction. The use of confidence interval and effect sizes add transparency to the result. Perhaps most commendably, the researcher openly acknowledged the limitation of their own study, which demonstrate academic honesty and prevent overgeneralization of the findings. This strengthened the overall credibility of the research.
I am number 5 and I will be presenting the weakness of the study. We have identified 8 notable limitations which are spread across 2 slides. The first weakness is the non-representative sample demographics. The participants were predominantly female, making up to 84.2% of the sample, and non-Hispanic white at 74.6%, with most employed in client service roles. This lack of demographic diversity significantly restricts the generalizability of the finding to the other population, industry, and job type. The second weakness is the heavy reliance on self-reported measures. Key outcome variables such as productivity, job satisfaction, and work engagement were all measured using single-item self-report scale from 0 to 10. While these scales have some validity, single-item measurements are generally less reliable and less capable of capturing complex constructs accurately. The subjective nature of self-reporting also introduces potential response bias. The third weakness concerns missing important variables. Due to data constraint, the researcher were unable to examine potentially influential factors such as individual self-efficacy and the availability of a dedicated workspace at home. This omission represents a meaningful gap in understanding the full picture of what drives work-from-home outcomes. The fourth weakness is the limited follow-up period. The study only allowed participants for 1 year, which restricts the ability to assess any long-term effects of remote work. Impact on career development, burnout, or organizational culture over a longer period simply cannot be captured within this time frame. Moving to our second weakness slide, fifth weakness is selection bias. The participants who were included in the final analysis differed systematically from those who were excluded. Those included were generally younger, worked fewer hours and reported better physical health, yet showed lower productivity and co-worker support at baseline. This raises concerns about whether the analytic sample truly represents the broader original population, thereby limiting the internal validity. The third weakness involved weak statistical support for some key findings. The relationship between work from home and reduced work-family conflict did not survive, and therefore cannot be considered statistically significant. Additionally, partial work from home of 1 to 4 days per week showed no significant differences compared to no work from home for productivity, engagement, or work satisfaction. Many of the moderating factors, including gender and having children, also produce minimal or statistically inconclusive effects. The seventh weakness relate to measurement quality. The use of single-item questions reduced the robustness of the finding compared to validated multi-item scale. There were also no objective performance measures used, despite prior research demonstrating that work from home tend to show stronger link with objectively measured outcomes. Furthermore, the use of median scoring for categorical responses when measuring work disruption reduces the precision of the data. The eighth and final weakness is the issue of caregiving and contextual factor. Caregiving responsibilities such as attending to children, elderly relative, or pet increase work disruption during work from home. However, these factors were not fully modeled as mediated in the analysis. Combined with the demographic homogeneity of the sample, this limits the external validity to the study conclusion. To address this weakness, we recommend that future research should be validated multi-item scale and include objective performance measures, extend the study duration beyond 1 year, diversify samples across industry and organizations, incorporate additional variables such as self-efficacy and workplace quality, and work to reduce selection bias to higher participant rates.
I am Shirin Sania and I will be delivering the conclusion of our critique. In summary, this study makes a valuable and timely contribution to the growing body of literature on remote work. Using pre-pandemic longitudinal data, Shen et al. Affirmatively demonstrated that higher work-from-home frequency is associated with fewer workplace distractions, higher perceived productivity, and greater job satisfaction. The study's methodology is well designed, and the researchers' willingness to acknowledge their own limitations reflect a high standard of academic integrity. However, as our critic has highlighted, the findings should be interpreted with several important caveats in mind. The sample was not sufficiently diverse, it was predominantly female, predominantly non-Hispanic white, and largely confined to client service workers, which limits how broadly the findings can be applied. The reliance on single-item self-report measures reduces measurement precision. The one-year follow-up windows restricts long-term conclusion, and some of the most fundamental relationships tested, such as work from home and work-family conflict, did not reach the conventional threshold for statistical significance. Looking ahead, future research should address these gaps by recruiting more diverse and representative samples across different industries and organizational settings. Researchers should adopt validated multi-item scales and include objective performance measures to improve accuracy. Studies should also be extended beyond 1 year to capture long-term effects, including critical variables such as self-efficacy, home workplace quality, and organizational culture would provide a far more comprehensive understanding of how and why work from home affects employee outcomes. As we conclude, we believe the study serves as a solid foundation for understanding remote work and a clear call for more rigorous and inclusive research in the future. On behalf of our group, we would like to thank TS Dr. Ahmad Sobri bin Hashim for the opportunity to critically analyze this article. We hope our presentation today has demonstrated our understanding of scientific inquiry and our ability to evaluate academic research constructively. Thank you.